Hello and welcome back to the Odd Shopper YouTube channel. I'm Isaiah. I'm broadcasting to you from sunny but cold Nashville, and I'm here to talk to you about this weekend's NASCAR race in Atlanta. So last weekend's Phoenix race didn't quite go our way, but Hendrick Motorsports' illegal parts may have hurt us. They did cheat. They did get docked 100 points each. So we're going to blame that one for last weekend's struggles. That wasn't great. We did bet on the correct team to win the race. Fords did score a win, and Stewart-Haas Racing did account for that winner, but neither Ryan Preece nor Eric Almirola got the win. So that's tough. Whatever. We move on. We're also going to talk a little bit about DraftKings today, and then we're going to get into Odds Shopper Insider Access, which is the only way that you can get access to my full betting card before this video and my article go up online. Cool. Let's get into the Ambetter Health 400. So this weekend we're in Atlanta. It's a 1.5 mile super speedway track, which means that its competitors are other super speedways, namely Atlanta, but only from last year because they reconfigured the track then, and Daytona and Talladega. So we have a decent size sample, but we just can't look too much at this specific track history. It's also important to note that we should have cloudy 50-degree weather on tap, which means that I'm going to emphasize Daytona 500 stats because that is one of the few super speedway races that is not run in the hot, slick summer or summer weather inherent to the American Southeast. We're not going to get the same kind of conditions we usually get, especially not at the July Daytona race, and especially not at last year's July Atlanta race. Those races are still decent comparators, but they're not going to be as good as this year's Daytona 500 and other years' Daytona 500s will be for us. We also have a pretty big value opportunity this week with Hendrick Motorsports favorites penalized. That's right. The favorites on this race's betting board are all from teams that got penalized and will not have their crew chiefs. Kyle Larson and William Byron, who have dominated so far this year, they're out their crew chiefs. They're out 100 points. They're out some parts that got taken away. I think it's a good time to fade them, especially when their odds are so short. That creates some value on other guys. Before we get into the picks, I want to talk about DraftKings. So I know that I've been talking about this deal where you bet $5 on a money line and you get $150 back in bonus bets. Well, that deal is no longer on the table. It's changed. It's actually upgraded. You can bet $5 and make $200 in bonus bets that are paid out in 8 $25 bets, and that you just get them for betting on anything for $5. So your bet doesn't have to win. What I'd recommend doing here is you should bet $5 on the biggest favorite in college basketball in the tournament. Then you should take those 8 $25 free bets and use some of them on NASCAR. You don't have to use all of those bonus bets on NASCAR, but you should use some of those bonus bets on NASCAR, especially on these plays. Cool. Now I'm going to add the picks to the stream real quick. Alrighty. So, pick number 1 is Ross Chastain. I think you might have figured this out from what I was saying about Hendrick Motorsports. We're going to fade Hendrick, but we're still going to back some Chevrolets. Chevrolets dominated at Atlanta last year. Hendrick Motorsports led 47% of the laps. Trackhouse led 18%. That's more than half the race. With Hendrick now penalized and Trackhouse not, I think they should have a leg up in the Chevrolet camp. Chastain finished second twice in Atlanta after leading both races. So he should probably be the favorite, especially given the penalties to Hendrick drivers. Well, I have to note this. Fords did do well at Daytona this year, so that means that the one true comparator race from this season, Fords had an edge on Chevrolet. The same thing happened last year. Fords dominated the Daytona 500, and then Chevrolets dominated Atlanta. So maybe there's something there. Maybe Chevrolets just have an edge when the track is a little bit shorter. I don't know, but that's my theory here. And I usually try to avoid buying lines this short at super speedway races, but I really think Chastain should be the favorite here. I think 12-1 is too long, given how much the books are holding on this number. I still like Chastain here. We're also going to back Chastain's teammate, Daniel Suarez. So obviously, Trackhouse led a decent amount of the laps in the races in Atlanta last year. Suarez chipped into that too. It wasn't just Chastain. He led laps in the spring Atlanta race last year, so the best comparator for this event. And he had an average finish of 5.5 in those events. And I already told you that Chastain finished second twice. So that means Trackhouse Racing had an average finish in Atlanta of 3.5, which is nuts. So that's got to be something to tail here. Not only am I going to back Suarez outright at 25-1 at DraftKings, which I think is way too long. This number probably shouldn't be longer than 20-1, in my opinion, but we're getting it at 25. So cool, thanks. We're also going to back him to score a top 10 at FanDuel. That number is at plus 170 right now. Far too long as well, especially because Trackhouse Racing had, again, let me repeat this, an average finish of 3.5. Suarez and Chastain finished in the top 10 both times. Pretty easy value for me. Suarez also led 7 laps in this year's Daytona 500 and finished 7th, so he did well in the one comparator race from this year. that's more than enough for me to back Suarez on these markets. Before we get into our last pick, I want to talk about OddsShopper Insider Access. I've already said that it's the only way to get access to my full NASCAR betting card, and that it's the only way to get access to it before I post my article and before this video gets uploaded. So that's one key thing to consider, but there's a whole lot else that you should think about when it comes to OddsShopper Insider Access. You get picks in real time from all of our betting experts, not just myself. You get live bets, you get office hours, and you get access to my betting models. So there's a ton of awesome perks that you can get access to with Insider Access. And the greatest thing is that you can get your first week of access for half off, and after that, it's just $19.95. So what I'd recommend doing, hop in the Insider Access Discord, tail our bets, make back the money that you would spend on it every month, and then keep riding with us. You get to socialize with a bunch of cool people. Overall, it's a great experience. I strongly recommend it. Now let's get into our last pick for this weekend. This will probably come as no surprise to you given what is in the background here. We are going to add Ryan Blaney to our betting card. I have another Ford on my card at 100-1 in my article at OddsShopper, who I also recommend betting on, but Ryan Blaney is going to be the one Ford we talk about in this video. Ultimately, I just can't write Fords off at super speedways ever, no matter what, especially not with Team Hendrick drivers penalized heading into this weekend. I think this is a great spot for Ford to prove what it can do on super speedways, especially at Atlanta where it's historically struggled. And I think Blaney is the perfect driver to do just that. Not only is he the best active Ford super speedway racer, in my opinion, he also led the most laps at Atlanta for Ford last year with 17, and he won the second stage in one of those races. So he has led meaningful laps. He has performed meaningfully well. Most Ford drivers can't say the same. Blaney is definitely their best bet for a Ford driver to win the race. Further, he has a 4-season streak of top 10 finishes at Daytona 500s. And with this race likely being run in similar conditions, I just can't avoid Blaney at that price. 12-1, not bad. Could be better. I still think that he's probably more like 10-1, which is where I'd probably put Chastain, given the penalties to Team Hendrick that the market hasn't fully compensated for. All right, let's recap today's video. So first, we got action on Ross Chastain at 12-1. Second, we got action on Daniel Suarez at 25-1. And third, we got action on Ryan Blaney at 12-1. I have a 100-1 long shot that I've posted in my OddsShopper article that you can read on our website. Strongly recommend tailing that play because that means you bet 0.1 unit, you get 10 back. That's enough to fund your betting on NASCAR races for the next probably 3 months. Great deal. Like and subscribe if you thought this video was useful. I'll be here every weekend to break down that weekend's NASCAR race. It's been a pleasure. I hope to see you back here. And as always, let's make some money.